welcome back to another video. My name is Abby and today we're talking about how to manifest love, and I'm going to be sharing my personal success story. Now before we do that, I want to let you know that if you've been interested in working with me one-on-one, I've recently changed the way I take payment, and that is donation based. There is a $30 payment. That's what you have right now. That's great. If you want to leave more, you can do so in the tip. Either way, we'll work together to find your current limiting beliefs, shift the perspective so you can start manifesting whatever it is that you want in your life. If you're interested in that, go ahead and go to the description box and you'll find the link to take you to the appointment page. So back to the video. How to manifest love, where I'm going to be revealing my personal success story. Well, gather around, sit down, it's story time. So my entire life I grew up and all I wanted was a relationship, right? I had the idea that I wanted to get married, that I wanted to have a partner, that I wanted to have somebody in life to do life with, right? To experience things, to go on trips with, and just have that deep connection. Intimate, yes, but not about sex, something deeper than that. Well, there I was, young Abby, going out into the world and started to find rejection after rejection after rejection. Now, no matter what I did, it seemed it wouldn't make a difference. I could work really hard, or maybe I'd find somebody we really got along good, and no matter what happened, it kept ending the same way. I kept feeling rejected. I kept finding people who were emotionally unavailable, or people who the connection was almost there, but something wasn't quite right. And it obviously left me feeling really disheartened, and it was terrible. I would get into these situations. I was afraid that I was going to be left alone because I was going into it feeling alone. So when I'd reach out and, start having this connection with somebody, then they either would start getting distant emotionally or they would literally leave. And it just perpetuated and pushed on the fear that I already had. And I did this over and over and over and over and over and over again. I actually don't know how many overs and again, because even within one relationship, there was a lot of abandonment, there was a lot of betrayal. And I'm not trying to paint a picture that I was this victim and that these things were happening to me. I had a very big part in it, in the toxicity, in the dynamic. I was absolutely participating and I was responsible for a lot of the interactions. I take responsibility for it. It was neither of our faults. However, where we were with our wounds, that's where we got. Again, I still had this desire to manifest and to have this person in my life. Since I was going into it feeling alone and not worthy and unvaluable, well, that's what I was actually projecting out. So what was I finding? People who were treating me like I wasn't very valuable, people who were treating me like I wasn't worthy, and people who would leave. Now, what I had to start seeing for me personally was when I would reach out and I'd be so willing to do anything that they needed. Maybe they needed me to be there, needed me to show up, or needed me to go and do this or that or this, or not even asking me to, me putting myself out there. Oh, is there a problem? Let me solve it. I was trying to save people. I was trying to be a hero. Why? Not because that's what I wanted, but because I thought that was my only sense of worth. I thought I was only valuable if I was helping, only valuable if someone needed me, because then there was a space for me in their life. And without that, I would be worthless. So what I found is that I was only finding people who needed something. They weren't looking for me. I didn't really want to find that, but that was a dynamic that I continued to find. Why? Because I only saw myself as somebody who was worth helping, right? I didn't have value unless I was helping, unless I was doing something. It was more transactional. I would get love if I worked hard. I would get love if I abandoned myself so that they would give it to me. So you can start seeing I would leave myself, and then I would find people who were just going to be in alignment and reflect that back to me. If you hadn't picked up by now, so far, this is an incredibly painful experience, and I'm sure if you're watching this video and you're interested in manifesting love, you've been through some very intensely painful, disappointing situations which have left you feeling alone, abandoned, betrayed, all the things. However, I'd ask you right now to think about it. Did you feel this way to some degree before you met the person? Did you feel lonely? Did you feel like, oh man, if I can make this relationship work, then my life will be better? Because that's what I thought. I thought, if I can make this work, if this person can commit to me, then my life will be better than it is right now. And without it, and here is the most important thing, without that relationship, I did not see myself as valuable. Without them, without the commitment, life wasn't as good. So I was becoming dependent on this relationship to give my life meaning, to give me more value. And again, as long as I'm reaching for something outside myself to fulfill a need, to create space for me to feel like I have a purpose, I'm literally projecting that out. So what am I going to find out there in the world? Oh, there it is. There's a perfect situation that's going to show me that I'm not valuable and that's going to abandon me because I'm already doing it myself. And I didn't realize that. So we've got year after year after year after year of all this stuff. And it wasn't until in recent years that I actually became aware of manifestation and really spiritual work and really starting to dig into what is it that I believe? Oh man, I actually am very self-abandoning. All these times that I made this other person's perspective and viewpoint more important than my own, I violated myself. I went against my integrity and I left myself. Wow. No wonder it felt so lonely in those moments. It wasn't so much their absence, it was because I left myself. And I got my lesson turned up so loud that I found myself in a physically abusive relationship. I was actually physically attacked, which not a lot of people know. Now it's out in the open. And it was really, I was ashamed of that because I'm physically pretty strong. And what I had to understand is it doesn't matter how strong physically you are. It doesn't matter how much potential you have. It doesn't even matter how valuable and lovely you are if you don't see it yourself. And because I was not willing to stand up for myself, because I was unwilling to love myself and see the value of me unless somebody else did it, I continued to find situations and people that were in alignment with agreeing, yeah, you're right, you are that. It wasn't true, but that's where we were resonating with each other. So it wasn't until I was in a physically violent situation where I literally didn't know if I was going to live at a certain point, and I'd never had that sort of violation, that sort of fear in me, that I realized, wow, when I abandoned myself, I could die. This is very dangerous for me. So I completely changed, and I was, rather than being so consumed with relationships and, oh, can that person work? Oh, maybe I'll date that person. What about this person? Is that person? And constantly having my attention outside of myself, I started to come in. I started to work with somebody to help me heal the wounds of, for one, the betrayal that I did to myself and the abandonment that led me to a situation. Not that I deserved it, and not that I had any role in that other than I had abandoned and betrayed myself so many times. I found myself in a situation where somebody could treat me that way. Never deserving it, however, participating in a certain way that I devalued myself so much. So as I started working on myself and I started not being so consumed and not really even caring about relationships, I started saying, okay, wow, oh wow, I really abandoned myself there. Okay, starting to heal that, starting to really use my discernment to see who is safe, who agrees with me about how I feel about myself. My esteem started to go up, the way I saw myself, the way I valued myself, realizing I can never find a relationship outside of me that's going to love me so much, that's going to then love me, and then I'll love myself. I can never get it. It's like if you're out there and I'm so thirsty and you're having a glass of water and I'm watching you. No matter how close you are physically to me, no matter what, you drinking water is not going to help me be more hydrated. So realizing, okay, the only way I can ever find the connection with somebody else is if I create it inside me. They often say you can only receive love to the depth that you love yourself. So think about it. If I have a space, and the more I create this space with self-love and self-appreciation and valuing of myself, then if I met somebody outside of me, then it could be in alignment and I could feel that, I could receive it. However, at that time, I was not concerned with that. All I wanted to do was feel safe, use my discernment, and to continue to create safety. Starting to look at people, situations, and myself in the world completely different. The more I did that, the more I started to love myself, the more I started to trust that I could see who was trustworthy and who was not. Because of all the other relationships, there was a lot of different signs. There's a lot of moments in where I said, oh, this person's showing these things and this is what's important to me. And I chose them. I agreed with them and I betrayed myself. I abandoned myself. I neglected myself. So as I started to spend more time with myself, to listen to myself, to see what made me feel safe and not safe, to the people I was around platonically, when did I feel safe? When did I not feel safe? And really listening to what I needed at that time to continue to create this safety, because my sense of physical safety had been violated so intensely. As I started doing this, the people who were not in alignment with that kind of repelled out, and I, naturally distanced myself because I was going in a new way. And the people who could align and keep me safe and who respected me the way I started respecting myself, then aligned. Because I had evolved into self-love, I found somebody who also was at that level. And no level is better or worse, but what I wanted in my life, I didn't realize had to be created inside of me. So I had to move out of self-abandoning and not valuing myself and feeling unworthy. And as I started to change the view of myself and evolve that to a high level of consciousness, becoming aware of where it had been to evolve, I didn't find people who would meet it down here. I found somebody who would meet it up here. And literally, my partner walked into my life, completely not looking for them, not seeking for them, not even at that time being open to that, because I was still, okay, I'm with me. What is this about? And naturally it evolved into a very beautiful, secure, loving relationship. I could not have accepted and received the love that my partner is able to give me unless I was able to have it with myself first. So to really be able to manifest love into your life, what you need to do is start realizing it starts with you. Start realizing the more you seek and chase and feel that somebody else's approval of you or denial of you dictates how you feel about yourself, the more you understand that you're off course. The more you can create the love in yourself, the more you start looking inside, and how you feel about yourself inside, look out in the world and see it starting to be reflected out. You will not see a reflection of a secure, loving relationship until you start having it with yourself. And maybe somebody comes into your life and you use your discernment and see, does this person help expand my sense of safety? Does this person listen to me? Do I feel that this person is starting to show that they are able and willing to continue to show up through good times, through difficult times, through all of it, and love me unconditionally, not me have to abandon parts of myself so that they'll stay with me. The more you start to unravel where it is you have been, the ways you've abandoned yourself in the past, the more you create that space in you, the more you will see somebody show up in your life in that way, because they're mirroring you. Manifestation is simply revealing the way you see and believe yourself to be, how you're supposed to be treated, how you're supposed to be in a relationship, who's able to show up in a relationship for you, with you. The more you start to create it in you, the more you will see it reflected back to you. You can say that it's drawing to you and attracting to you. I like to think of it as a law of reflection. You're creating the scene inside of you, the space, the respect, the love, not in an imaginary way, but truly with yourself. The more you do that, the more you will see it reflected back to you. The more you refuse to leave yourself, the more you refuse to abandon yourself, the more you will find people who will also be in alignment and abide by that as well. That they trust, they love, they respect you, and they will be able to be at that same level that you are. I really hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, hit that little like button below. If you found this video valuable and helpful, I recommend you watching this one next as well. Join this community by hitting that subscribe. We would love to have you. I love you all, and I'll see you on the next one.